Hey guys, Teresa here. Welcome back to my channel, Lost My Thread. Today I want to talk about my winter sewing plans. Now I know that we are a ways into winter already. I did share some ideas of some winter skirts that I was thinking of sewing. I have made one of those and I do want to make another one this winter. I'll put a link to that video up here and down below if you want to check it out. But I feel like I'm really just craving some nice, cozy, warm things, some jersey makes, and I thought I would share some of the things I'm excited to make in the coming months. The first project I'm going to talk about, I am probably the most excited about, but at the same time, I feel like it's the most experimental and it may not work out the way I'm hoping, although obviously I hope that it does work out exactly how I envision. I want to make the zadie jumpsuit. That is not the unusual part. I have made the zadie jumpsuit before. It's a jumpsuit by Paper Theory, a wrap style jumpsuit, so it's a proper genuine wrap, so it's very adjustable around the waist. There are some pleats at the front and the back above and below the waistband that line up nicely. It has big roomy pockets. This jumpsuit I have made two versions of for myself. So I've made one in a viscose linen blend. I ended up dyeing that one because I felt like I wasn't wearing it as it was, but I really like the dyed version. I also have made one in a viscose fabric, a floral viscose that I absolutely love. It is possibly my favorite jumpsuit that I own. Hard to say, but I definitely do love that one a lot. I have also made a jumpsuit for a gift for someone. I have made a dress hack for myself. This is a tried and tested pattern for me, but I'm going a little bit out of my comfort zone by using a different fabric. The fabric I want to use is this. This is a polar fleece fabric, so it is definitely really thick and plush, really scrunchy, really soft, in this wonderful, it's like a raspberry pink color, quite a nice deep red color. Absolutely love the color. This is quite an unusual fabric. I got it from Sew Me Sunshine last winter. It is a viscose polyester blend. So it is 30% viscose, 70% polyester. So it actually has a little bit of drape and movement to it, which is quite unusual for this type of fabric. But it definitely feels super thick and warm and plush. Now, I had originally bought this to make like a two-piece matching set. I was going to make like a sweatpant and a half-zip sweatshirt, which I think is a really good option for this fabric. But as soon as I got the idea in my mind to try and make a zadie jumpsuit in this kind of fabric, I decided that was what this fabric needed to be used for. Now, I did not come up with this idea on my own. I actually heard about it on the Sewing Club podcast. So if you guys are not familiar with the Sewing Club podcast, it is hosted by Kylie of Kylie and the Machine Sewing Labels and Gem of Sewing Gem Fabric and Haberdashery Shop in Australia. And the idea of their podcast, it's like a book club, but for sewing. So they will have a pattern that they're going to be making and they will tell everybody which one they're going to be making next, give you a discount code if you want to download it or buy it yourself. And then they will reflect on what the process was like in making it. They both make the things. They sometimes make multiple versions. They also interview the designers. It's a fun podcast, definitely something a little bit different, which I appreciate. But they were talking about this jumpsuit after they had made it and all the different types of fabrics they would like to use to make this jumpsuit in the future. And one of them, I think it was Gem, I can't remember, but one of them said that they really love the idea of making one in a polar fleece fabric for winter. And I really like the idea because definitely for myself, I want to be fully covered and cozy and warm in the winter. I really hate when I sit down on like a couch or a chair and my shirt rides up and then my mid-back, lower back is exposed. That's like the worst thing, but jumpsuits will never do that to you. They will always cover you completely. I see myself laying on the couch with a big bowl of popcorn or with a nice hot chocolate, curled up, watching a movie in this jumpsuit. I feel like essentially it's kind of like an adult onesie, baby grow, like baby all-in-one thing. And I don't know that I necessarily want to go for that vibe, but I'm honestly expecting this one to be an at-home thing only. I'm hoping it might look a little bit more elevated than that with all of the designs going on, like design lines and, you know, details on this pattern, but either way, I feel like it will be super cozy and I will enjoy wearing it home. But I do have some decisions to make about this. So there is different lengths to this one. I definitely want to have a full length and I think I might need to lengthen because I have a feeling the pattern doesn't actually come with full length, but I've done that before. That's not a problem. And I also want a full length sleeve for sure. I also like the idea of having this a little bit more oversized The pattern generally comes up quite large and most people size down. I myself have sized down 2 sizes in the past. So I feel like I would be tempted more to make what is my size because I like the idea of being able to wear things underneath, particularly on my top half. So that is something that I am very conscious of, is that generally speaking, going to the bathroom in a jumpsuit is the worst part about having a jumpsuit because you have to take all of your clothes off basically. And in the winter when it's cold, that is really unappealing. However, I had thought if I was wearing like a turtleneck or a long sleeve shirt underneath, that's not going to be such an issue. We'll have to see, and I'll tell you guys what it's like to actually wear because I feel like it's going to be a little bit one of those things where you're not going to know until you're actually having it and using it. But the idea of having a jumpsuit in this fabric, wrapping myself up in it seems so appealing. I definitely need to make it happen. This fabric does also have a bit of stretch to it, which will make it comfortable, but I need to just consider that when I'm thinking about sizing. So I generally, like I said, size down 2 sizes on this pattern. I might just size down 1 size, and I feel like that will probably still be enough give for me. The one thing I'm really not sure about is the neckline. So there's a binding that goes around the neckline all around down to the crotch area. That is usually supposed to be made with bias binding made in self fabric. I am conscious that this stuff is super thick, so I certainly don't want to be sewing through too many layers of this if I don't have to be. I had considered whether to use just bias binding, a woven bias binding to go around the neckline to give a little bit more stability, which has its plus sides. The only thing I would say with that is it's going to be very difficult to find an exact match of this color. I don't have a lot of local fabric shops around that I can go to. Most of my fabric shopping is online, and what is around, I'm not convinced they're going to have this exact shade. I had also considered, actual bias binding or making my own from fabric. I'd considered using like the fold over elastic that you have around the edge of underwear. I felt like, again, that could work quite well. The elastic would work well with this, but again, color match is going to be really difficult. So what I'm considering doing is just sewing some strips of this, or cutting some strips of this, so that way I can stitch it over the edge and then fold it over and then just top stitch down. So I'm not going to be folding under and under again like you usually would with bias binding. I'm hoping I can get away with that then. It doesn't matter on the inside if it looks more just folded over and stitched down because this fabric doesn't fray. I don't think it's going to look too rough or anything on the inside, but ideally on the outside I would like to have it look quite neat because it is a proper binding that goes around both of the edges. If you guys have other suggestions or ideas of things that I should try, I would really love to hear them. I'm not 100% decided on that detail, but I am 100% decided that I do want to make this jumpsuit. I think it's a really nice idea and I'm pretty excited to get it sewn soon. The next project I'm going to talk about is one that is really all about the fabric. So most of the time I have an idea of a pattern or a style that I want to make and I find the appropriate fabric, but this was definitely one where I wanted to buy and use this fabric and then I had to decide what project to make with it. So this is the fabric, which may look a little bit familiar. If you look around on the screen, you may spot a similar fabric. This is a quilted jersey fabric that I got from Higgs and Higgs. It is the same that I used for this Valdivia Sweater by Alissah Threads. It's a really unusual fabric in so many ways. So when I first ordered it, I was worried that it might end up being really stiff and just not very flexible. I mean, I've made quilted jackets and things, and that was kind of the thing I was wondering if it might end up like, but it's really quite different. So even though it definitely has some quilted layers and you can see there's actual like quilting lines. So this is the right side. This is the wrong side. It's a little bit more subtle on the wrong side. And this is where you can see actually the fabrics in there that are quilted in there. So even though it is genuinely a quilted fabric, it's all quite lightweight fabrics and it has a surprising amount of drape to it. So it gathered really well. It definitely moves really nicely. And the bottom line is, it is just so warm. I was really surprised. I mean, I've made lots of different sweatshirts and all different kinds of like sweatshirt fleeces and polar fleeces. This, I don't know if I would say it's like the #1, but it is up there with warmth factor. I think it's just because of the quilting, it really traps the body heat in and it does keep you really nice and warm. And I like the idea of making something that's a little bit more oversized and longer. This one is cropped. It's kind of halfway between the sweater and the crop length. And I like the idea of having something even a little bit longer to just feel like I'm completely wrapped up and cozy in it. I do have some matching ribbing, so I asked them if they had a ribbing they thought matched, and I think they actually did a really good match this time. When I got this sweater, I felt like the color match wasn't quite as good, but I feel like this one is really spot on. But I definitely feel like this will make a really nice sweatshirt. I think I'm probably going to keep this one for March to sew up for Sew Yellow for Endo. If you guys are not familiar, that is a Instagram challenge and it is hosted by Jess of So What If I Sew. The idea behind the challenge is to increase awareness and get some donations for endometriosis charities around the world. I don't usually have a lot of yellow things that I'm sewing up, and so I feel like because it's the beginning of the year and this is like proper yellow, I need it for that month. I need it for that project. But this is definitely a color as well that I would say is a little bit out of my color comfort zone. When I was looking for mustard yellow and thinking about mustard yellow, I generally tend to go for more of like a browny yellow. This is definitely a bit bolder. It's not like a sunshine yellow. I'd say it's probably more like a marigold. If I feel like the color isn't coming up on the screen correctly, I will correct it. But I think honestly, it looks pretty good on screen. I think it is a good color for me. It's just one that I'm not as used to wearing. But yeah, it definitely felt like something for the Sew Yellow for Endo challenge. The pattern, let me tell you what I'm going to make with this fabric. I've decided to make the Drew sweatshirt from Tilly and the Buttons. It is an oversized sweatshirt. I would say really very oversized to the point where it's almost like a bat wing under the arm. It's really quite roomy, which I feel like is really nice and cozy for this time of year. And definitely I feel like on trend with the style for now. It is also a bit more cinched in at the cuffs and at the hip or at the waist, depending on how short you're going to make it. Like I said, I want to go for the longer version rather than the cropped for the extra cozy factor. I feel like raglan sleeves, there's something about a raglan sleeve that makes you feel like you just basically have a blanket draped over you. It feels really snuggly and it's definitely something that I would like to have, but I don't have a ton of raglan sweatshirt patterns. This might be the only one. But overall, I feel like the style is spot on for the kind of thing that I want to do. Now, this pattern does come with color blocking options and you can play around with different fabrics and different parts of it, which I do want to do, but not for this project. I feel like for this, I kind of just want to see what the fit and the shape are like for me, what I think of the style, and I will definitely have to play around with sizing as well. Now, like I said, it is designed to be oversized. I have seen a lot of people when they've made it have chosen to size down because they prefer a slightly tighter fit. I want to keep it nice and relaxed fit, but in general, I often have to do a full bust adjustment on the bust, and I generally have to grade out between my waist and my hip. So I'm kind of hemming and hawing, a little bit unsure about whether I might just go for the size that fits my hip, and that will just be like straight up and down, will fit me overall, or whether I go for a size that fits my fullest bust. It'll be a little bit more narrow at the hip area. So I'm gonna have a think and have a play with it, but I do feel like whatever size I go for, it's gonna be oversized and it's gonna be really snuggly, and I'm very excited to have something just a little bit longer that feels just a little bit more cozy in this really lovely fabric. I have two other jersey makes that I want to make this winter, and they are both the same pattern. They are another Tilly and the Buttons, which is funny because I honestly don't sew that much Tilly and the Buttons. It is from the stretch book. I want to make two more versions of the Freya top. Now, the Freya top comes with a lot of options. You can make it like a normal crew neck, you can make it turtleneck, you can make it cowl neck, and I have made different versions of this. But the one that has been getting so much wear in my wardrobe is one that I adapted a little bit from the original pattern. So I made it a slight boat neck. It's a little bit wider at the neckline and it's the scoop neck version. I did also do a full bust adjustment on this one. So I did a dartless full bust adjustment. If you guys are interested in seeing how I do a dartless full bust adjustment for like a jersey top, just let me know. I'm very happy to share that at some point. It's a faff though, and I think that's what's put me off making this again, because I have changed sizes. I am a size bigger than when I first made this pattern, and the whole process of doing that full bust adjustment on a dartless top is a bit of a pain. But I know that if I do it, I just have to do it the once and then I've got that pattern to use. Now, the reason I've decided that I really want to make this particular version of this top is because I made a navy version in a viscose jersey fabric. And this is probably the one most worn item in my wardrobe. Like throughout the years since I've made it, I have worn it so much. It is really comfortable. It's like a really just good amount of slightly loose. It's not too tight. It's like semi-fitted. I basically have a lot of t-shirt patterns or top patterns, jersey top patterns. They're either totally fitted or very oversized. And this is just a really good in the middle. I feel like it looks dressy enough to wear for work. I feel like it's also just really comfortable enough to just wear at home. I might wear it to bed, wear it in the evening. And I did a 10 by 10 wardrobe challenge earlier this year. I'll put a link to it up here and down below if you didn't see. But I included this top in there, and I decided to try something a bit different and actually layered it over a turtleneck top. And I actually totally loved it like that as well. So it almost looked like a kind of a sweater. I liked that it had the 3/4 length sleeve, so there was a bit of the sleeve peeking out as well as a little bit peeking out at the turtleneck and down at the bottom of the top. I feel like I basically want to make that again, but just slightly bigger in other fabrics. And I know that I will wear them loads. I know that there'll be something that I will reach for because I reach for that one so much. So the first fabric that I want to make it in is not a whole lot to show you on camera, and it's not the most exciting fabric, but I think it'll be really useful. This is a black bamboo jersey that I got from Blackbird Fabrics. It has really wonderful movement. It is really nice and drapey. It is also, I would say, a more robust bamboo jersey. I feel like I've gotten some bamboo jerseys before that feel almost a bit flimsy, but I have made another top in this fabric and it is washing and wearing incredibly well. It feels quite robust, but I feel like this would be good either on its own or layered over tank tops, which is kind of my new favorite way to wear this top. But black, you kind of can't lose. I'm not someone who wears a ton of black because I don't really love it on its own, but especially layered up, I could see myself wearing this a lot, and it would just be such a good basic to have in my wardrobe. And the other version I want to make in a cotton jersey fabric. This I got from Higgs and Higgs. I was obviously over on their website picking up a couple of things. Now this fabric is actually part of a line they have that's intended, I think, for like babies and children. I think they call it like their nursery range or something like that. I'll put a link to it if you want to check it out because there are other fabrics in this range. This is such a wonderful soft fabric. It definitely does remind me of some nice, really soft fabrics I've seen baby clothes made in. And I mean, I don't think it's a baby fabric. I think this floral print is beautiful. I really love the colors on there. They are very much the kind of colors that I wear. I do like a ditzy print, and I thought if I make the same top out of this fabric, again, I can wear it on its own, but the colors on here would work really well with a lot of the turtlenecks that I have and also just some long sleeve tops that I have, and I could layer this over the top and I think it would work really well. Like I said, this is incredibly soft. It has really wonderful stretch and recovery. It's also a fabric that when you stretch it, the flowers stay the same. You don't see it like paling out underneath. It seems like a really lovely quality fabric, and it's definitely something that I feel like would work well with the kind of 70s vibe that I'm going for, pairing with some of the skirts that I want to make and ones that I have, and also some of the like corduroy trousers. I think that would work really well together. So I feel like bringing those two Freyas in will definitely open my wardrobe up quite a lot, and I fully anticipate that these will get a lot of wear. I do still want to sew at least one more winter skirt, and probably one of the longer ones that I was talking about. I also do still want to work on some of the autumn sewing plans that I haven't managed to finish up with yet, but I feel like those generally are a bit more meaty, a bit more involved projects, and I feel like right now, coming towards the end of January, I just want some quick wins. I want some cozy makes, I want some things I can make up in a day, put in my body, feel nice and satisfied and really comfortable. I hope I've given you guys some inspiration for your winter sewing. Let me know what you are planning to make this winter if you are still sewing for the winter. If not, let me know. Maybe you're getting ahead of yourself. Maybe you're on the other side of the equator and you're sewing for summertime. Whatever you're sewing, I really do want to hear what you're up to. I am definitely ready to get stuck into these projects. Please do give me a like if you enjoyed my video today. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you want to see all these goodies made up and all the other videos that will be coming. And I will see you guys very soon. Bye!